hit so fast I could feel that, yeah. We're quite close.
What's up? Oh, I got it. You want to sit here and talk?
Don't want you to leave me alone. Oh.
You sussed it out.
No, I thought it was
Look at his feet, hold
yeah,
on.
okay.
Where's Dad?
Sean, you're supposed to be up there and pick people the other nation.
Yeah. Go and pick Australia. And pick Australia. And then Hong Kong. Just come over their way.
Because it's been like everyone attacked. Everyone.
Starving. Yeah, that's why I got noticed. I think that's why I got sick in the first place. These guys. That's a fact. Yeah.
Well, that took a week.
Yeah. This is something else.
You have to say it.
Everyone's thinking.
What? I love you, Hitchell. I like that.
Really, I know that there's like a liberal nose.
No, I know. I feel like I get messages and I can't even look at them. I've got the other one. And I look at it. Oh my god. God, did you see that?
That was very
That was close.
Is there anyone I know on Snapchat like on the road?
But just more. Oh, I'll add you, Alan, for them to do
Give me another look. Give me
Well, even in the family.
Can you see John Command? What? Can you see John Command? Yeah, he's like a bar. Yeah. In case someone's in front of us. I saw the switch open. I think it's down here.
You're gonna
Oh, alright.
Might be the admin you. Me.
yeah, I couldn't actually add you. You had to add me.
Bill Joe.
Because I like made Joe Bill.
Oh, I added you. Did you add me? You.
I know I can't add you because I don't.
Did I add you?
Yeah,
You had me on
we
my
will.
phone.
Yeah.
If more people start coming to like actually.
That's what I thought. That he should have awkward.
Well, no, because we're all so close. I literally, I hit you the. be like a tennis match. It's so funny.
Look, it's down on the podium.
Have you guys been to like a proper tennis match and just like seeing the crowd go like flip and flop? Like not actual what?
But is it the exact same time, so it's okay, because they're like so different.
Yeah. So fun.
That was really nice.
Oh, look that noise you made yesterday during
That was really nice.
game games.
You didn't even hear it.
Yeah, I did hear it. So, I remember, yeah, you were just like,
Good afternoon everybody and welcome to Birmingham. Today is finals day at the World University Squash Championships. Very soon on court is the women's final and then followed up by the men's final starting straight afterwards, almost straight after that match is finished. In a second we will be going courtside to have the players introduced onto court. Starting again.
Good afternoon everybody and welcome to the final matches of the World University Singles Championships. Over the past few days we've had almost 200 matches have been played here. There's been some fantastic squash on display, I'm sure you'll agree. These matches are being streamed today around the world on the university's YouTube channel and also on the Olympic channel. Our opening match today is the women's final and promises to be a cracker. Our first player onto court has only dropped one game so far and also knocked out the top seed in the quarterfinals. From South Africa, please welcome Alexa Pienaar. And her opponent has a highest world ranking of 92 and in yesterday's semi-final came through a very entertaining and hard-fought battle against the second seed. From England, please welcome Lily Taylor.
So good afternoon, everybody. Apologies to anyone who didn't hear the introduction. The players there were just being announced onto court. This is the first ladies' final of the 2018 World University Squash Championships between Alexa Pienaar of South Africa and Lily Taylor of Great Britain. Just giving you some background on both players. The person on the right hand side hitting on the forehand at the moment is Alexa from South Africa. She's 24 years of age. She's a top 10 South African lady who's in her 4th year studying fine art at the University of Johannesburg. She's coached by Mike Bester, and I think, as Chris was saying in his introduction on the court, she's had a very smooth run through to the final. She's only lost 1 game so far in this tournament so far, and has kind of supported the South Africans' claims that they thought she was in with a shout of potentially winning this tournament this time round. Her opponent, as you can see there, Lily Taylor, she had a tough semi-final match yesterday, playing against the Malaysian, which went to 3-2. Fortunately for the Great British supporters, she managed to come through that match. It was a bit of a topsy-turvy game. The games she won very comfortably. As you see, the first 2 games, 11-1, 11-2 in the 3rd game, but actually found herself kind of coming in and out of lapses of concentration, and eventually went on to win the match. Anyway, just joining me in the commentary box is Chris Truswell with his many hats on. He's been the person who was announcing players onto the court just a second ago as we came to the commentary. So good afternoon, Chris.
Afternoon, John. It's a quick sprint up the stairs there to join you.
Now, I had the benefit of seeing both of these players play yesterday, and quite similar matches really. I don't know how you felt, but both players, when they were playing well and were winning, looked very confident, very strong. But both players did have lapses in their games and did have some little wobbles. So it'll be interesting to see how this match pans out. Do you have any thoughts on what you saw yesterday and how you see it going today?
I'm looking forward to this match. I think it will be quite an interesting matchup for the styles. I think Lily obviously yesterday came out of the blocks very, very quickly, almost sort of too quickly, I think, and then she had a bit of a lapse in concentration, and then in the end it turned into a real fight at the end, and could have gone either way. And then Alexa and her opponent in the semi-final was a bit more sort of not scrappy, because that's probably doesn't do them justice, but it was no one really dominated for large parts of it, but Alexa, I think, just had the edge. She was a little bit more clinical than her opponent, so I think predictions. I think Lily probably just has the edge on paper, but they're not playing on paper, are they? So
yeah, I think it's going to be close, isn't it? I think I agree almost with what you said about the early game for Lily yesterday. Was just so easy that actually she won almost a bit, as you said, a bit too easily, and actually it lulls you into false sense of security. You lose your concentration just a little bit, and before you know it, you can actually end up in a bit of a match and not quite sure why you're not winning the points as quickly as you were at the start.
Yeah, exactly. And there's always going to, if someone loses a game, I think it was 11-1, wasn't it? It's unlikely that the next 2 games are going to be that easy. There's always going to be a response, and it can be. It's not always a good thing to win a game that easily. I don't think. Not that I've ever won that many games that easily, but well, I imagine.
You say that, Chris, but I think you've got the fastest record on the PSA Tour for the quickest ever match. Is that right?
There's nothing to shout about, I'll tell you that. But technically,
on that particular day, you
technically I think it's still there, but yeah, we don't need to talk too much about that.
So just while they're knocking up, I think we probably missed a little bit of the background and the bio for Lily Taylor. Yesterday we were joined, fortunately, by Jack Turney in the commentary box, who is also a Leicestershire boy and had quite a lot of information about Lily and seemed to know her quite well. But for those who weren't listening to yesterday's commentary, Lily is a 21-year-old final year student at University of West of England studying business. Our coach is predominantly Simon Taylor, who is also her father, who's in the audience. Have you had much experience of that, seeing players coached by their parents? I guess Darryl Selby might be one. I'm trying to think of,
there are a few out there. It does tend to be a family game, doesn't it, squash, a lot of the time, not always, but yeah, there are a few. You can think of Diego Elias.
Yeah, I think they've both recently played, didn't they? The
Salazar brothers, their dad used to travel and coach them. Oh yeah, there's definitely a few. There's definitely a few out there.
I think the recent Pan Am games, you're talking about the Elias situation. I think their dad and the son played in the same team recently, which is could be a first for squash. But yeah, I think there's a few of the British Open players this year as well. I think Jonah Bryant maybe he might have some coaching from his dad, who used to be a player as well.
Yeah, Ross Bryant.
That's right, yeah. And he won the under-13s in this particular venue.
This venue, yeah, very impressive. Very impressive display that week. Jonah he wasn't really troubled, was he?
I think he had a close semi-final match, and but yeah, in the rest of the tournament he looked very strong, very confident. So Lily's about to come back onto court. Had some fine instruction there from Josh Taylor, who's the Great Britain coach this week.
No relation, I don't think.
You know, they're no relation. Although Josh may also be from Leicester, I think originally, and potentially was also coached by Simon. So there's a bit of a connection there with what we was talking about, Jack and obviously and now Josh. But I think probably both were giving final instruction. But I would have thought that they've talked through game plans prior to the match. So probably it's the final G up there just before she starts, I think.
Yeah, I don't think there'll be anything too new. No new information there. Probably just clarifying, keeping it clear and concise. Don't want to complicate things.
We talked yesterday about settling nerves, but I think it's so important. I mean, for both players, I chatted with Lily just before she went on court, and she said she has never won a PSA event yet, and so potentially I think this is the biggest match she'd have played in her career so far. And I think it's so important just to settle down, isn't it, and actually just find your range.
I think it's a gold medal and a world title on the line, so that I imagine they'll both have natural to have some nerves, definitely.
I did hear at the start of the week, Chris Ryder, who's their tournament director, was talking about the number of players who've come through this tournament and then gone on to top professional kind of world #1 or world champion status.
I think there's three people who went on to be world #1 actually. I think it's Thierry Linku won twice, Rami obviously won it, and the third one escapes me. But yeah, there's certainly pedigree from winning this tournament. People do tend to go on and do very well.
Was that all the male side, or have we had any females? I think I'm pretty certain that Raneem may have played in this event in Egypt in 2008, and I think she might have won. Obviously, she's not gone on to be a top 10 player.
Well, you were at that championships, weren't you? So
yeah,
you should know.
I should know, yeah. Well, I'm saying I think, and she did. It was an all-Egyptian final, yeah. Omnea being the other person in the final, I think.
She did win. Kareem Darwish was the third.
That's right, yeah.
The third world #1.
I think this is the kind of the opening we expected a little bit more yesterday, isn't it? Kind of just a bit more kind of people trying to find their range. I know it's kind of been shared points so far.
Slightly a bit more patient though, and a slightly better length as well. They're both
commentators curse there.
Looking to hit the ball to the back.
Probably a bit of a false shot on the backhand post there, but yeah, I agree. Just a little bit more length, just trying to get the tee.
Sometimes if you are a little bit nervous, a little bit tight, it's the best thing to do is just to concentrate for the first couple of minutes, a few minutes, is to just get that arm loose and swing through the ball and get it to the back, and not not go for anything risky until you've just set a little bit more settled.
I think this rally being the case in point yet again, just a bit of patience from both players. Lily's on top here now. But a little bit like the backhand boast in the previous round, that was just a bit of an unnecessary shot there, wasn't it? She's behind there. Slightly low percentage.
Yeah.
Having said that, if that had rolled out the nick, we would have been saying how good it was, I guess.
I think Lily is around that middle of the court. She does have quite soft hands, and she has a bit of time there. She does put the ball into the front well. Alexa will have to be she'll have to watch that, not give her too much time and space.
It'll be an interesting battle down the backhand wing, because Alexa yesterday in her semi-final match, she actually won a lot of points very similarly, backhand volley into the front left-hand corner. A lot of play so far has gone down the backhand side, so probably a strength area for both players. You've seen it there from Alexa wanting to go in short on the backhand side. It's been a good start here from Lily, hasn't it? She's kind of just gradually edged a 3-point lead.
Yeah, she looks confident. Actually, I think she's on top of the majority of the rallies.
She's just been getting the tee that little bit more than her opponent so far, hasn't she, in the early exchanges. Good shot there. So there's that shot we were talking about, isn't it? Yeah. Backhand side, it comes out loose off the wall. She's very strong in that area.
It's a short, simple swing.
Yeah, I like that. She takes it early. Oh, she missed one there, but she takes it early out in front, and just getting it in the ball in that area quickly is creating a lot of pressure.
Feet got a little bit stuck on that last one. Got to move your feet.
It's a big point, this, isn't it? 8-6, I think, 9-6, but the difference in point of rally, if that had gone 8-7 compared to 9-6, it's huge, isn't it? It's an unenforced error, I'd say there. I think really Alexa should be making that ball, so it's taken Lily to game ball.
Slightly better length from Alexa, that's where she needs to be putting the ball, I think.
No left. No left. And out.
Well, I think as we said just 2-3 rallies ago, she was just probably been across the whole game so far, just been the player who's been behind slightly. As you said, if you get that length right, then suddenly she can get on that volley, start to be dominant.
No left. No left.
Oh, I think there'll be video review there, Chris. Nothing to lose on the video review there, have you?
I think maybe she's forgot that she's got a review, but I think she needs to make more effort, to show more effort, I think, because we've seen no lets given for similar situations this week. I think she'll probably feel a little bit hard done to, but yeah, I think she just has to take an extra couple of steps there just to show that she can get to the ball. So Lily will be happy with that first game, I think.
It's interesting. In my head, that felt a bit longer than 7 minutes. I have to say, I thought I'm surprised to see that as a 7-minute game. Obviously, Lily's, as you said, done very well there, settled in. I think be more the same would be the advice from the Great Britain camp. But compared to yesterday, there's a lot more structure there from both players, quite a bit more patience. Probably what we would call more traditional squash, really. But Yeah, I think as a consequence of that, I felt it was longer than 7 minutes because yesterday we were kind of racing through games and it's still kind of ending up at something close to 6-7 minutes per game.
Yeah, we did have a few quick games yesterday. It can happen on the glass court when points run away quite quickly. But yeah, I think I don't think Alexa should feel like she's playing badly though either. I think it is fine margins on this glass court. Like you say, just half a step behind your opponent is just made more apparent on the glass, isn't it? Because you get exposed a little bit more. But she's not playing badly. She just needs to just hit those targets a little bit more frequently.
I think that'll probably be the advice from Mike Best. Do you think just slightly get the ball a little bit deeper? Just try and get that tee, that volley, that a bit more.
Yeah.
And as you said, then it changes the game really. I think from Lily's perspective, based on what we saw yesterday, now it's a really important part of concentrating hard at the start of this game and trying to keep that momentum. That's a nice easy point to start her off. This was the only chink I did see yesterday with Alexa's game. Was I think it might have been the second game that she dropped, but there was a point where her body language changed and she got a little bit passive. And she does sometimes lose a run of points. That was at least that was evident in the match yesterday. And she just did the same thing here, though. If you remember, I think she went 3-0 down and won 11-3 or 4.
Shot. She got onto that quickly. Simple straight drop shot.
Probably just what she needs there to settle the nerves.
Margin for error, just run it in tight. It's a good rally. The pace went up, didn't it? To start with.
3 or 4 quick shots around the middle. Those 2 or 3 trickle boats at the front there, and the girls were scrambling around there to try and stay in their rally. It was a lovely shot to finish there.
Yeah, I think Lily's she's trying to mix the angles up, isn't she? And twist and turn Alexa. I think that's maybe part of the tactics. Yeah.
You're seeing it there. Maybe she played straight. Just kind of try to flick it back across. She did show this yesterday in a match as well, didn't she? When she gets on a roll, Lily herself, it's very hard to stop, and she won 2 of the games very, very quickly. She seems to have that capacity when she's feeling good. That's
nice hold, yeah. Very simple. She was onto the ball early, so she had the time to shape up and then just push a straight drop in.
Well, there'll be no video review there, Chris, I don't think.
I think that'd be a waste.
For those that don't know, both players will have an opportunity to review one decision made by the referee during the course of the game. And if it's upheld, they would lose that review. But if the decision was overturned and the referee got the decision wrong, then they would be allowed to have a second video referral.
Well, that was a very casual return of serve. That worked well.
And out 3-7.
It's not a shot we've seen a lot yet, the lob, but again, it came up in commentary yesterday. People were talking about the glass court play and how it's maybe different to playing on a plaster court, but the lights very bright on those glass courts. If you get
you
that
can
white
lose sight of the ball if it's if you use that height, and it's also a good shot on a normal court as well, isn't it? Not a lot of people like playing the ball up in the air on the shoulder height. It's tough. It's tough to do too much with it.
I think it's
if you
possibly
get the height
hitting a black ball on a white court than a white ball on a blue court. Would you agree with that in terms of how you lose it in the lights? I agree exactly. It's an effective shot on both courts. It's a shot.
Yeah, I think you are more likely to lose it on the glass. I think that it's just a brighter light.
5.
It's a good tight
ball.
Tight ball, good length, good width. Tight balls do tend to stick a little bit more on the glass court. And Lily's really stepping into those backhand drives. She's trying to put a little bit more pace on the ball. She's very, very attacking.
Looking very confident at the moment. She's
Yeah.
she should be 1-love 9-6, playing well. She'd probably say that she's dominated most of the match so far up to this stage.
Out. 7-9.
Just hear the South African contingent, very vocal lot.
We've got a decent crowd in here today, haven't we? But the South Africans did come with a large entourage, and they did say pre-tournament they fancied Alexa's chances.
Yes, left.
And as you said, they're all getting behind her today, trying to give some encouragement.
Yeah.
7-9. A little bit quiet when they first start, but we're just starting to hear that now, aren't we? And they're picking it up on commentary. We can start to hear the noise that's coming from the crowd.
It's a vicious return serve from Lily. Gives her 3-game balls. Take a 2-love lead.
There you go, the use of height again. Just took Lily away from the middle, didn't it?
It's a great volley kill as well. Followed up. Good combination.
Perhaps something for the South Africans to think about is perhaps maybe changing the angles and using that height a little bit to try and take Lily away from that mid-court area.
It's a good finish.
Great finish, yeah.
You can't give Lily too much time in those front corners because you're going to get punished for that.
Well, you called that in the first game, didn't you? So there's a very strong area for Lily. She's won a lot of points from those areas, and as it continued in that game, quite a number of points going into that front left-hand corner. So Lily leading 2-0. For the GB supporters in the audience, it's kind of almost gone perfectly well so far. I think Alexa probably needs to mix it up slightly if she's going to try and get a foothold in this match, because it's sometimes what you have it with players, don't you, Chris? But if your game's matching up very well with their game, then actually you have to be prepared to change and deviate from your own natural tactics.
Yeah, well, obviously, I mean, with Lily's she's in control now at 2-0. She doesn't need to change anything that she's doing. Alexa's probably going to have to rethink a little bit, just because this is the last throw of the dice. Really, she has to try anything she can to bring herself back into this match. I think she has to keep the ball out of the front. If you give Lily too much any sort of time or height in that front corner, she's on the back foot straight away. So first things first, I would try and keep the ball out of that area as much as possible, and then just focus on. She still could hit the back corners a little bit more. When she has done that, she'll get that ball on the volley, and then she can attack, and she has got a good volley drop on both sides, but she hasn't really been able to use it yet because she hasn't been in a position to do so. So it'll be interesting to. I'm pretty sure Lily will carry on as she is, and it'll be interesting to see if Alexa can
change things.
Take a little bit more control of rallies. So she's controlling. She is controlling parts of rallies, and she's controlling some rallies, but she's on the back foot of a lot of them as well. So
you mentioned halfway through that game potentially a slight change from Lily, where she started just twisting, turning, using a few more angles, a bit of boast. Is that something that Alexa should maybe be thinking about as well? Something that you've seen in Lily's game that suggests that would work?
I feel like Lily's moving. She moves around the front quite well. She does turn and twist okay, and I'm not sure. I haven't seen Alexa use that many angles this week, so I don't know if that's just not something that she doesn't, she consciously thinks about or not. But it's a tough one, because if she doesn't feel comfortable doing it, now is probably not best time to try out a new a kind of a new way of playing, but she's probably best tweaking what she's already doing. So
working very hard there in the front corner again. That was a nice attack from Lily. I think it's just what Lily would have wanted to get another good start here. 2-point lead. So Chris, wearing your many hats, am I right in thinking that when this match finishes you'll be doing some interviews on the court as well?
There will be a quick post-match interview with the winner, and then the men's final will follow on fairly quickly straight afterwards. And then after the men's final there'll probably be another quick interview, and then there's a medal ceremony for both the men's and the women's events. Again, pretty much straight after that.
So this is the gold and silver match, but they don't play for bronze in this tournament.
No, the losing semi-finalists get a bronze each. So we don't.
They've already been decided, haven't they?
Yeah, that match isn't played. It's just the two semi-finalists from yesterday just take a bronze. I think in the women's there's two Malaysians, and in the men's also 2 Malaysians. So that Malaysia have ended up with four bronze.
4 bronze medals.
And then obviously the team event, which consists of 2 men and a woman, starts tomorrow morning. So the players don't get a lot of rest. Straight back into two team matches tomorrow, and that culminates with the final on Wednesday afternoon. Bit of improvisation there from Lily.
So he's followed up from a good shot, though, wasn't it? Again, just tight into the back corners, and Alexis pulled the ball a bit loose, and it's another volley she's given there. Lily showed her speed into the front corners. An unusual return of serve that, but it was very effective, wasn't it? A soft little kind of drop shot that she played on the cross-court angle. So most of the players who've competed this week are staying for the team event. I know there are a few teams, or a few nations, should I say, that have come.
Yeah, there's. I think there's 13 teams in the team event, and I think there are a couple of nations that were represented that only had 1 or 2 players. So obviously they aren't participating, and I think Argentina are not playing because I don't think they actually had a team of 3 men but didn't have any women. So I think everyone who brought men and women are staying for the team event. There's a lot of squash still to go. We're only halfway really. It's a good format,
week
for everyone.
The team event with the mix between the men and the women. It's something that they do in National League in this country, but I know it's something that Zena Woolridge, who's is she the tournament director? Is that her official title this week?
Event director, yeah, she's overseeing everything.
I know it's a format in the game that Zena's very keen, I think, to explore more in terms of something that could be taken into senior level as well. I think there's a bit of tactics involved as well from the coaches, isn't there? Because I think the British team, for example, have brought 5 players to this championships. But then in each match, 2 of the 3 men and 1 of the 2 girls will be selected, and they'll have to decide who to play where and when.
Yeah, each team has to nominate their seedings, and obviously you can't deviate from that order, but you could obviously mix your teams up depending on if people are tired or injured, or so it's good to have a little bit of backup. Some teams are here with just 2 men and a woman, so they obviously all have to play all matches, which is quite tough when they've already all played probably four matches already in the singles. So it's
It's a good week of squash, definitely.
Potentially sometimes playing twice in a day as well, which is where that team dynamic comes in. If there's a hard match in the morning, they might change the players around if you have that luxury in the afternoon. So while we were talking about the team event, we missed that video review, and Alexis kind of brought herself back into in this game at 4-5.
Yeah.
It's a shame we don't see a video review of that. That's a very harsh decision, do you? I think Alexia will be getting to the stage now. She's thinking she's on the thin edge of the wedge, sorry, should I say, in terms of those decisions. I think she just stopped for safety and she's not rewarded with anything there. It's a lovely counter drop in the front corner there. Actually read that one, Chris, straight onto it, run it in tight. Unfortunately for Lily, she slipped in the front corner. It's funny, but Alexa's reaction to that poor decision, I don't know if you saw the same, Chris, but she visibly kind of got cross and angry, stepped up and actually used that aggression in the next rally.
Yeah, sometimes does help, doesn't it?
It can go one or two ways, can't it? It can actually be become a
Wheels
problem.
could come off, yeah.
So as Chris leaves the commentary box on the off chance that this match may finish, we've got Lily's only 2 points away from winning from championship ball, or 1 point away from championship ball. So he's heading downstairs courtside just in case this match does end and becomes a 3-0. That's a lovely rally from Lily. She had control down the backhand wing, got Lex under pressure, and there's a lovely finish in the front corner. And she's got her first championship point. Great shot as well. And now it's our 2018 champion, Lily Taylor. Fantastic effort there from Lily. I think she's played a great game plan there to take out the 5-8 seed. And I think that could be Chris Treswell walking down the stairs with a view to an interview. So we'll pass across to Chris and our new champion for 2018, Lily Taylor.
Lily, congratulations, World University Champion, gold medal. Sound good? How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm absolutely thrilled. I can't believe it, really. I wasn't really thinking about it during the match, so yeah, to finally actually win is pretty special. Yeah.
World champion. That's good for the CV, definitely. Just wanted a couple of words for Alexa. Obviously, I know it was the first time you played, and how did you find the match?
Obviously, I know she's very strong. She's beaten a lot of good players, like coming up to the final. So I know I had to give it my all, and I knew she was going to pick up everything. So that was my mindset going in. Just make sure I stay in the rallies as long as possible. So well played, and thanks for the match.
And I was going to say celebrate tonight, but the team event starts tomorrow, so I guess celebrations are going to have to wait a few days.
Yeah, they'll wait till Wednesday, but I get a day off tomorrow, which is quite nice. So yeah, we'll have to see how it goes in the teams, but yeah, definitely on Wednesday.
Well, congratulations. Played really well this week. Definitely deserved the gold medal. Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause, please, for both of the players. If you want to stay in your seats, the men's final will start in 4 or 5 minutes' time. Thank you.
So as you might have just heard Chris say there, the men's match is immediately following on the ladies' final. We've got Joshua Masters of Great Britain, who's a local, well, a local player who's training in Birmingham these days. Certainly has been training here for the last 6 months, I think. Prior to that was in Bristol. So he's made the final, and he's playing against top 25 player Chus Fung Yip from Hong Kong. So they're just going to do some court cleaning, and then the players will be on court in the next 2 or 3 minutes.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, both players are now ready for the men's final. Both of these players have played some extremely high-level squash this week, deservedly earning the chance to play for gold medal this afternoon. First player onto court won bronze in Malaysia 2 years ago, and is yet to drop a game so far this week. He's currently ranked 53 in the world and rising quickly. From England, please welcome Josh Masters. And his opponent won the gold in Malaysia 2 years ago, and is a match away from being the only person since Thierry Linku to retain this title. He's at a career high of 25 in the world, and then after a breakthrough season last year. From Hong Kong, please welcome Sifeng Yip.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for the 10th edition of the FISU World University Squash Championships. I'm Jack Turney, a professional squash player. Well, the crowd are buzzing and the players are warming up, and to my left is a man who speaks like a dream, the wordsmith. It's George Parnell.
Hello Jack, good afternoon. It's a pleasure to join you here at the University of Birmingham Sport and Fitness Club. It's a £65 million development whose doors were opened just over a year ago by Her Royal Highness Princess Anne. A wonderful venue, and welcome to everyone watching at home via YouTube or the Olympics channel.
It's absolutely welcome all. Well, yeah, it is absolutely a fantastic venue. In the men's final here we have world number 25 Sifeng Yip of Hong Kong versus Great Britain's Joshua Masters, currently 53 in the world.
That's right, Jack, he's 53 in the world at the moment. His highest ranking was earlier this year at 50, so he hasn't dropped very far. He's a UWE graduate, but was still eligible for this year's World University Squash Tournament. Yesterday we saw him defeat Mohd Shafiq Yamal of Malaysia in the men's semi-final to gain this opportunity to claim the title of the men's World University Squash Champion this afternoon. Standing in his way is Hong Kong's Sifeng Yip, who himself is ranked as the first seed in this tournament. Here we see Yip. His current PSA world ranking is 25, which is his highest ever ranking and the one he holds to this day. He is at the City University of Hong Kong, a 24-year-old who joined the PSA World Tour in 2013. Yesterday we saw Yip semi-final, where he beat Malaysia's Adine Idraki in straight games to come through to the final today. In fact, neither Yip nor Masters has conceded a game at this year's University World Championships.
Yes, absolutely, and both of them have had, as you said, very easy runs through, so they'll both be very fresh in this encounter. So already they're at parity in terms of their level of fatigue. That's right, and it should be an absolutely intriguing battle. Well, we've been doing this now for every game, and well, no exception for this one. Predictions, George Parnell.
Yeah, we like to have a little wager on these, and with autumn just around the corner, I think we ought to have a pumpkin spice latte riding on this, Jack. What do you say?
Quite right.
So, predictions for this match. Well, as you say, neither player is particularly fatigued, having played 4 days of squash, but not having lost a game. I think we're going to see a victory from Yip, the first seed, but I think Josh will get a game, so 3-1 for me, Jack.
Well, you seem to have stolen my prediction there, George. Yeah, it'll be very intriguing, as I say. Both very contrasting body types, very contrasting styles in a way, and Josh likes to be very attacking, and Yip's extremely explosive. I was going to say 3-1 Yip, but if there's a pumpkin spice latte on it, I will say maybe even 3-2.
Really? Dragged out to 5 games?
I think so, yes.
You're right, Jack, they do have extremely contrasting body types, and that's evidenced in their play. Yip at 75 kilograms, he's 5'10", a powerful player who's able to explode forwards, as you say. And we've also got Josh, who's much taller, so he's got the reach that Yip perhaps doesn't have. He's 6'4", but a heavier player at 85 kilograms. So an important consideration here might be power to weight.
Absolutely. Well, we just saw the women's final. If you just joined us, it was Lily Taylor who's able to come at Alexa Pinar 3-love in that match. And how fantastic is it then, George, that great British players won the women's final?
It's brilliant, especially hosting the tournament this year in Great Britain here at the University of Birmingham. And we see a second great British player making the final here for the men, and it could be a clean sweep for the singles titles. It was great to see Lily come through and defeat Alexa in the final. We saw Grace Gear knocked out a couple of days ago. She was the #1 seed for this tournament, another British player. But it was refreshing that Lily could come back from difficulties experienced in the last few years in terms of injury to defeat Alexa Pinar in the final and take the gold for Britain. Both players just finalising their shots as well as their psychological game ahead of this match.
You see there, the referee of today's match is Steve Eccles.
I think that's right. Yeah.
I'm not sure who did the women's final, but we've also got, as we have for the whole week, actually, we've got a video assistant referee. Let's hope he doesn't have to be used.
World University Championships 2018 final. Josh Masters of Great Britain to serve. Yip Si Fung of Hong Kong, China to receive. Best of 5 games, love all.
Well, it's Josh Masters to kick things off here with the serve.
Stroked to Yip.
It's not the most ideal start, but
no, not at all.
So, George, what do you think Josh has to do here against a very talented opponent?
Well, that's a good question, and I think as we'll see unfold throughout this match, the contrasting styles of play may reveal weaknesses in the players' games. And once again, just an unlucky catch of the front wall there in the corner for Josh, given a let. Well, just before this game, we saw Rob Owen, Josh's coach, talking to him. What sort of advice do you think he might have been giving there, Jack?
Yeah, you say Josh has recently moved up here and he's now being coached by Rob. Well, it's difficult really because Rob likes to be very simplistic when it comes to giving advice. He doesn't overcomplicate things, so we're telling him to find his length early on, to get the basics right and try and keep Yip in behind him. Find Yip's very explosive, as you said earlier on, and he plays very well to his body type. You know, he likes a short, explosive 10-11 rallies or 10-shot rallies. But it's whether or not Josh can extend those rallies. That's what the top guys do against Yip. They manage to, you know, get past that initial barrier and then get the ball behind him. So force him to make errors from the back of the court and sort of squeeze him. And it's whether or not Josh, he can actually do that. Obviously, we hope so.
I think you're right. That's what we see with Yip. He's very powerful. So if his opponent can stay with him through those 10-11 shot rallies and then perhaps expose weaknesses that Yip perhaps wasn't ready for later in a rally, that might give players like Josh the advantage here. As you mentioned, Jack, Josh has recently moved up from Bristol to play at the Rob Owen Academy here in Birmingham, which is an academy for aspiring young squash professionals who are rising in the ranks, and you yourself are actually a professional playing there. What's the setup like?
I am one of the worst there, but it's fantastic. You know, playing those guys all the time on the court. Obviously, it's a great experience, and everyone works extremely hard. But actually, off of the court, it's fantastic as well. You know, being around those guys, you know, Josh and Joel Makin, George Parker, Charlie Lee, Miles Jenkins, and all these guys, very professional. And it's great, not just about, you know, being on court and tactically, it's also stuff like how they take care of their bodies, mobility and nutrition and all these sort of things as well. So it's fantastic, and Rob's done a terrific job. He's a very good coach, and you know, he works the boys and you know, very hard. But we're reaping the rewards now with George doing very well in the Europeans. I think just losing to Borja Golan in the final, and obviously Josh doing very well here as well.
I suppose, as you mentioned, the off-court aspect of being at the academy, I suppose the atmosphere of being around other young, aspiring athletes must really help develop your drive and motivation.
Absolutely. Well, we all push each other. As I say, you know, being around, you know, these guys like Joel and everything like that, it's a great experience, and obviously they've learned from other people as well, so they're passing on knowledge, and it is absolutely fantastic.
Down. 4-3.
Very tight exchange in the back and wall, isn't it?
That's right, yeah.
Both players settled quite nicely into this. So Josh obviously had that initial stroke, but actually, oh, it's a lovely shot.
Yeah, as we said, the first couple of points didn't really unfold as in terms of what we call a squash rally, but both players seem to have settled now into the occasion.
Finding their length and width quite nicely.
That's right,
and
yeah.
Being quite patient, and that's a lovely shot again. Both players actually, you know, are very strong around the middle. We saw that yesterday in the semi-finals. Both like to volley, and although Josh is obviously a lot taller, has a bigger wingspan, Yip's very quick around the middle, isn't he? And gets across really nicely, and is very stable on the ball.
That's right. He's got incredible core strength, Fung Yip, and we saw him cruising around the centre of the court, in and out of these deep lunges with ease. And I think that's a real testament to his economy of movement.
Yeah, we both use analogies. I feel like he's like a block of cheese, isn't he? Whereas, I mean,
exactly.
we want to highlight the size of his calves.
Those aren't calves, Jack. They are cows.
Oh, it's brilliantly lifted. That's a great shot.
Fantastic.
Beautiful stuff. Turning defence into attack.
That's brilliant from Masters. Yip, one of his trademark boasts, just coaxed in just above the tin, but Josh knew how to respond.
Yip's actually very effective with the boast. He doesn't just put in 3-all or 2-all. He varies it quite a lot, and it's a very working shot and trying to exploit people's movements. Particularly Josh, he's a tall guy. He struggles to get down low. So I mean, Yip's, is that something you think Yip's going to be able to employ in this match and use frequently?
I think it is. I think particularly in the later games, Josh will have used a lot of energy bending down, coming back up. He perhaps hasn't got the raw strength that Yip has in his quads, and I think Josh's height may contribute to being a fatiguing factor for him. So I think particularly in the latter games, these boasts may expose chinks in Josh Masters' armour.
Well, that's a beautiful shot, didn't he? He caught him screeching in and showed the options, then whipped out the trickle.
Exactly. We saw there, I think, 3 or 4 shots that Fung Yip could have played there. He even had time to hold.
Oh, it's a beautiful shot. That's so delicious. It's worthy of a Michelin star, that one.
Absolutely.
8-6.
Oh.
And he'll dine out on it.
Good use of the height from Masters.
We've seen already that's a key counter weapon he'll use against Yip's boast.
Left 8-6.
Yeah, I think that's a good call from the referee. Josh, it was loose, but he did move away from the ball very quickly, didn't he?
He did attempt to clear, yeah. I think that should be a let.
Initially, Yip went the wrong way, didn't he? By the time he recovered,
Slightly
Josh had already
wrong-footed.
cleared.
Yeah.
and out, 7-8.
Only 1 point separating these players as we enter the latter phase of the first game.
Again, he uses the lob when he's under pressure. Clever play from Masters. And he's varying the height up and down the sidewalls very nicely, isn't he?
He is indeed, yeah. Counter drop there.
Oh, this is brutal.
Yip using Masters' weapons against him there with a lob to counter the low ball in the front court.
Oh, he just gets the ball back. It's great strength from Yip.
Keeps coming back.
Oh, ends in a let. What a rally.
Masters on the no-let decision.
Well, he's been referee gave him a no let there, so we're going to a video review. Sprung into action. What are we thinking here, El Shapanzi?
I think there was a limited attempt to clear there by Yip. He did watch his shot play out rather than recycle his movement back into the centre of the court. And I think Masters did spring forwards quite clearly in a line to the ball.
Thank you. No let.
Might have disagreed with that decision myself.
No reviews remaining.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Yip did try and move a tiny bit away from the ball, but
yeah,
No let.
Yeah.
Hand out.
something now. It's interesting to see how Masters responds to this, isn't it?
Because indeed that's a 2-point lead here in the crucial phase of the first game.
Down.
Oh, the error.
And out, 8-9.
That's a great shot by Masters. Oh, fantastic.
Down and out, 10-8.
Well, it was down. He created a great opportunity there and clipped the top of the tin. So it's Yip here. 10-8 with 2 game balls to take this all-important first game.
Stroke to Yip.
Masters getting frustrated, but Yip's earned the stroke. So Yip takes that all-important first game, 11-8.
Fifteen seconds.
Yip leads 1 game to love. Lovell.
Well, after a very yip and tuck first game, it was Yip who took it after that stroke at the end. I do apologise there, we weren't really speaking, we run into some technical difficulties. But I think Yip's changed his t-shirt and we get things under the way here in the second game. I just feel like Josh was using the height very nicely off the post, wasn't he? He was lifting very well, but you know, I think Yip was able to expose his movement somewhat.
In the first game?
Absolutely, yeah. And
right, yeah.
Josh, I don't think he extended the rallies enough.
I think that's a trend we saw throughout the first game, is the rallies did extend, but perhaps it was too late for Masters to really exploit that. As we were saying before, a powerful, explosive player, Yip, who favours the 10, 11 shot rallies. Masters was able to extend them towards the end of the game, and hopefully we'll see more of that in these coming games.
Stroke to Yip and out.
In terms of Masters' journey to the final this year, much like Yip, he hasn't conceded a single game, and yesterday we saw his semi-final against Kamal of Malaysia. I was courtside for the match and had a brief interview with Josh after the match. He told me he was very pleased to have won and made it through to the final, having come so close to doing so a couple of years ago in this same tournament, the World University Squash Championships. So today he hopes to go 2 steps further than he managed to 2 years ago and lift the title.
Down and out, 2-3.
As we mentioned in the last game, Josh has made the move to the Rob Owen Academy up here in Birmingham. And could you tell us a bit more about where he was playing before, Jack, and the reasons for the move?
Yeah, well, he's he was down at university in Bristol, and he was playing there, doing an undergraduate in maths. Anyway, he was based there with the Shibagis, and he's a very bright guy, Josh. He was doing maths, and he made a good opportunity. You know, he analysed his game, and he thought, what's the best way to push it onto the next level, and he thought the Rob Owen Academy was a really good setup. We've got a great bunch of players there, and Josh has always been very talented, but maybe he's slightly lacking in sense of mobility in movement, and you can already tell after a summer at ROA he's moving a lot better, a lot smoother, and he's looking as a lot stronger. I was chatting with Josh Taylor, a great British coach, for those who don't know, and he was saying how much leaner Josh has looked, and he's getting a bit of a six-pack now.
And he's not alone on court with that, I think, with Yip's rig on show. There's a 12-pack.
You can sort of tell with Josh that he has spent a bit of time with Shibagis, because his forehand technique is always quite interesting. I feel like he's not a closed grip, but he certainly closes the racket face slightly before hitting the ball, particularly when it comes off the back wall, and generates a lot of pace, a lot of whip on the shot.
Yeah.
And he can absolutely crack the ball, but it can be quite detrimental when he has a quick volley, because he doesn't quite open that racket face enough and can hit the sidewall or not quite have the control. But I know it's something he's been working on with Rob, trying to open that racket face up and able to put it in quickly and run it in tight, and also take the pace off the ball as well.
That's right, and I think with the volley shots particularly, it's important to have the technique in place, but the time to set up that technique as well. And with the drives, you've got slightly more time generally to set up, as you say, this Shibagi style whip that Josh has. But hopefully he'll be able to show us adequate technique on the volley to take advantages of Yip's looser shots.
Stroke to Yip, hand out.
The second time Masters become unlucky there with the front wall meeting the side wall.
It's a good shutout. We get no let for that.
Let's let.
Oh, wow.
They review. Yep, on the
I take it you disagree with that decision.
Yeah,
there, Jack?
I think I do. Well, considering the previous no-let with Josh had, I think in the context of that, I think there should be a no-let, but...
Yeah, you think it's an analogous decision?
I know. I said it with too much confidence. What do you think, George?
Well, I personally wouldn't mind seeing that video. Here we go. I think Yip's played a cracking drive down there into the back left corner, and perhaps with the precision
So
that Josh wasn't expecting. It seemed like to me he hesitated slightly before driving into Yip.
Yeah, I just think Josh's drive on the volley was short, wasn't it? And you know, if you're short on the drive, you won't survive.
No, that's quite right. That's a good one, Jack.
No net, 6-all.
Well, Masters getting a bit frustrated, isn't he? Things getting quite scrappy, a lot of strokes, a lot of lets, and still needs to regroup a bit and just try and find that all-important length.
Hopefully that's something that Rob would have discussed with him after the first game, and as you said, perhaps before the first game.
7-6.
Such occasion, perhaps being reminded of the raw elements of squash, and particularly your advantages as a player, will help you perform on a stage.
And out, 7-all.
Very neatly dunked into the net.
It's a beautiful shot, isn't it? But it was a slightly loose serve, and if you lose on the serve, you get what you deserve. And
oh, you're full of intent, aren't you?
You've slotted it majestically. Oh, that's great shots.
Just enough. The drop shot pulled into the sidewall there. Masters were using the strings to achieve that effect. And the players have called for a court service. We've got a fantastic team of volunteers here at this year's event who've been diligently servicing the courts. And for those of you that don't know, a great deal of sweat is shed during a squash match, and that presents a slipping hazard for the players on court. So between games, and sometimes even several times during a game, particularly in the latter games of a long match, the court will be serviced and wiped to pick up those bits of sweat.
And out, 8-all.
Well, we're in a similar position to where we were in the first game, the latter stage. Both players here on 8 points at parity.
As I said, it's Yip and tuck. I think that was going to remain a stroke. What do you think?
I actually missed that one, Jack. I hope for a review.
It's very cheeky from Masters, but I think the ball came back a long way, didn't it, from Yip?
Yeah, it did indeed. Yeah, I think, to be honest, if Masters had swung his racket from there, he would have been able to contact the ball.
Well, he would have taken his cows off. Please just join us. We're talking about his calves.
Masters and out, 9-8. Game ball.
Well, from parity, Masters here has got two quick points in, rewarded with 2 game balls.
Might be just what he needs to establish a strong foothold in this match.
Oh, it's a great shot.
Fantastic liquid squash there from Masters.
It's beautiful reach and plucked it out of the air.
Absolutely. We saw that rally really open up before the crescendo, with both players being able to lift the ball, push one another back into the back corners. But Josh saw the opportunity and took it.
Well, then we're at parity at this stage in the final. It's a 1-game all. Yip taking the first 11-8, and then Masters from 8-all in that coming back and taking that second 11-8 again. Much better, wasn't it, from Masters?
It was indeed, yeah. I think he settled into his game, and perhaps he was able to establish where he can exploit the weaknesses in Yip's game, particularly with counter lifts, which we saw emerging in the latter half of the first game, and used perhaps more professionally by Masters in the second game. In terms of Yip and his current form, is 25. Sorry, I think I might have just dropped out there. We had a couple of technical difficulties earlier, which hopefully are now resolved. I was saying that Yip is on form currently, as first seed in this tournament, and current world number 25. In April this year on the PSA World Tour, Yip actually won the Macau Open, beating Egypt's Omar Mossad, who was world number 14 at the time. That particular match lasted 5 games, with Yip going 2 games down before coming back to win. He was the 5th seed in that tournament. And I think that's evidence of the grit that Yip often brings to his matches. Jack, what do you think the advantages are of Yip's attitude on court and how he approaches games, rallies?
Well, he doesn't seem to get fazed by anything, does he really? He's very measured, very stoic. And yeah, he's proven that over the years. And a couple of years ago, I remember him beating Rodriguez 3-2 in Hong Kong, and he took out the seed. And he was very measured and very calm in those tough situations. I think he came from 2-1 down against Castagnet to reach the semi-finals the other day. So yeah, no, he's very measured, and we'll see here that how calm he is. Really, I mean, in contrast that you can see Masters getting quite frustrated. Can't you, really?
We haven't seen that from Yip at all, have we?
Just let.
He's certainly got the game face on in the zone. Masters perhaps letting his emotions come through slightly more than Yip.
What's that? Yip beating Castagnet, I think it was well teamed actually, and I think Hong Kong finished the best they've ever finished. I think it was semi-finals, I want to say. Oh, Josh there with a lovely hold, isn't it? Lovely flick on the backhand side. Oh, that's fine.
Pushed against the sidewall again. Masters using the Jedi mind tricks there to get an advantage over Yip.
4-1.
Yeah, it was beautiful, wasn't it? So it came out and in with the swing, and
absolutely had me going the wrong way.
It's a fantastic start for Masters, isn't it, in this third game? As mid-area area's been
no, it's great. Hopefully it's a springboard that he's taken from the last game, and hopefully he can use the momentum to take this game as well. Beautiful lift from both players.
Both using all the height on the front wall, isn't it? Oh, that's a great shot. Great exchange at the front. He's earned himself a stroke. Well played. Fantastic rally there from both players, showing their dexterity at the front of the court. Oh,
that's a lovely combination from Masters.
Great height again. This is fantastic stuff from Masters.
Oh, this is quite a punishing rally for Yip.
Oh, there's the backboard post, and it's gone tight. Masters can't believe it.
He was working that rally so well. Oh, you can see the frustration in his face. This gives Yip back the serve.
Read it.
Look to Masters.
Well, this is interesting one, isn't it? Yip read it, and the backhand volley was coming back on himself.
Very confidently announced decision from the referee there. Yip's asked for a review.
Again, the video assistant referee springs into action to see what he wants to say, and I think
it's being reviewed again. What do you think about that one, Jack?
I think it's a stroke, actually. I do think it's a stroke. I think Josh is there. And it is. 2 out of 2.
Stroke to Masters, hand out, 7-2.
I think, though, Masters, he got away with one there, really, because he didn't quite get the width on that cross-court.
And Yip was there, he was waiting.
It's a great shot.
That's a great shot there.
8-2.
So complete blitz here from Masters, 8-2, 9-2, and I think Yip's given up on this one.
The game's almost evaporated for Yip.
Game ball.
I think Yip may have lost belief in this game. Yep, there we see it.
Well, I wouldn't read too much into that taxi. Yip gave it up, and Masters will be absolutely delighted with that third game. After a very close start, Masters played some fantastic squash, moving the ball beautifully to take that one 11-2. So Masters from Great Britain is up 2 games to 1. Well, again, fantastic game from Josh there, really moving the ball around nicely and putting it into the front corners beautifully, running it in tight, and Yip, after I think he went 7-2 up, Yip sort of gave it up, and but he'll come out strong in this 4th game. Last time Yip came back from 2 and down, I think was in the World Teams, where he beat Castagnet in the decider. So he's done it quite recently. But speaking of history, I believe our resident historian, George Parnell, has a bit of history on the origins of squash for you guys that don't know.
Yeah, hopefully this will be of interest to some of you. I think it's quite interesting to contextualise what we see in the modern game with the origins of the sport. Squash itself is believed to have evolved from a game called rackets that was played at Harrow School in about 1830. Students would play rackets with a hard ball on a court that looked much like a squash court, but was just longer, I believe. Anyway, occasionally balls would puncture and become softer, and when these balls were struck against a wall, they would squash against it, which is where the name of the sport is thought to have originated. Anyway, this variant, playing with punctured balls, became very popular, and it led the school, Harrow School, in 1864 to build 4 squash-specific courts, and the game really took off from there. Like many sports, of course, squash has evolved and progressed over the years, and from its origins we've seen development after development. In the 60s we saw the introduction of glass backs to courts, and from there obviously rackets changed from all wooden models to involving metal and other materials, even carbon fibre. And to today's game, where we see freestanding full glass show courts widespread worldwide, which provide a fantastic stage to expose the game and the athleticism we see on court. And obviously it provides massive advantages for the players in terms of their sport, getting more media attention, viewing opportunities for spectators in the arena. Now we can accommodate thousands of spectators around the court, and they can watch from angles previously inaccessible. And it's a great, it's a boon for commentators and for squash fans watching at home.
Fantastic. Thanks for the who do you think you are moment.
Hope you enjoyed that, Jack.
Well, we learn something every day. And a bit of it come back onto a quite interesting moment here where Josh, he appeared to have had tripped on Yip and asked for the let, but played the ball and then asked. So interesting to see what the referee says here. Ooh, need a passport for that trip. Well, the decision stands. It is a no let.
And out, 2-1.
I think as Josh elected to play the shot even after the trip, I think perhaps the referees felt he should have stopped short of actually striking the ball if he wanted to appeal for a let.
Well, the pace has gone up, hasn't it? That's a beautiful length from Yip. Just out of the reach of Masters.
3-2.
Oh, it's a great shot.
Pace up again in that rally. Masters was there to pluck the ball that was not wide enough into the front left.
Yeah, beautifully took the pace off the ball, didn't he, with the open racket face and slotting it.
Yeah, and coming back to what we were talking about earlier, he really showed an open racket face there, which he's done well to adapt the technique from drives there so fluidly. There again, he's got more drops than Calvin Harris.
4-3.
Bosh.
Too much for Yip again. Masters is really moving him now.
Well, it was a thunderous line, wasn't it? And then caressed it short.
Just cracked it.
Absolutely. So it's 5-3 here to Masters. Ooh, that's an impact.
Yip disagreeing with that one. And we're going to video review again.
Well, he's been busy, hasn't he? He's earning his money. The video assistant.
No lets, decision overruled. Was remaining.
It's nice from the crowd, isn't it? You can get more involved at the moment. They seem a bit quiet, don't they? But that's what happens when you get all these stoppages from lets and strokes. And
that's right, it doesn't let the mood of the game develop as much, I find.
Absolutely. Oh, it's a great shot.
Nice
oh, it's a beautiful shot as well from Masters. It was tight from Yip. It's a lovely volley, but he scrapes it off the sidewall. Oh, beautiful shot. Using a bit of topspin as well.
Sorry, I didn't see it. Coach attendance, please.
It looks like court service now. Another stop-start to this game. There where Yip was racing around the 400-metre track to get around Masters into the corner. Spreading some sweat on the floor.
Took an incorrect line. Indirect. Review or appeal?
Looks like a curling rink.
Sorry.
No let, hand out, 6-4.
Great shot. Could be a stroke. They couldn't actually think about it. I mean, he clipped the sidewall and then came back on him.
Didn't come out very wide. Video review again.
Well, I'm pretty sure both players get, just like PSA, they get 1 review per game, and obviously it goes to a tie break, they get the extra review. I'm not sure how many reviews both guys have had. I think because they were correct in the first time, they get another one. And it's a stroke. Some groans from the crowd there.
It's the most animated we've heard them so far.
Stroke to Masters, 7-4.
No left. Winning shot.
This left-hand side really seems to be causing some problems with clearing for both players. Masters is visibly unhappy about this decision. And more groans from the home crowd.
Well, they're thinking the ball popped out there quite a lot, so it's a stroke, but I'm getting a bit of a few head shakes in the crowd.
Stroke to Masters, 8-4.
But Masters, after a couple of decisions here from the referees, he's 8-4 up in this 4th game, and it's looking really great for the British player. Oh, it's tight as well. If it ain't tight, it ain't right. Isn't that right, Chimpanzee?
Absolutely.
9-4.
Yeah, beautiful shot. Ball was behind him there, but he was able to get the length and the width required. And as he went to hit it, hit the sidewall.
Especially in these later games, we've seen Josh Masters able to hit both the whip-cracking drives with raw power and also just pulling them in just wide enough to squeeze between the wall and Yip's racket.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that mistake from Yip has earned Josh 6 match balls, championship balls. It's a great rally.
Very low, smashed in there by Yip.
Oh, he's given a stroke to Masters. Yip's going to review.
Could be a stroke.
So the star of the show, the video assistant referee, has got one final decision on his hands.
He's got more airtime than both players.
Well, the heartbeat's playing, the tension's increasing. And it's a let.
Oh, it's a let.
It's a let. More groans from the crowd. A few claps. So there's from the Hong Kong supporters.
But a pile of match balls in Josh Masters' favour.
Yes, let. 10-4, match ball.
Just one of the next 6 points would see him win this tournament.
Patient play, a lot of length. Oh, he went for it.
Long rally here, showcasing.
Oh, it's only the wrong way with a lovely trickle. Masters, his knees almost buckling, and the crowd erupt.
The Jello mind tricks fooling him again.
Well, the crowd have been like a volcano. They've been dormant for most of the match, but suddenly erupt there.
A few puffs of smoke still coming out of a few of them.
See, they're saying 1 match ball. Only 5 more to go. Lovely shot. And that's a stroke.
Yip asking for a
we have
video
one
review.
final review.
And the star of the final comes back, assiduously reviewing every detail.
I can't
of these
see
pictures.
this. I can't see this being overturned. What about you, George?
Oh, well, he was right in front of Masters.
And that's a
wasn't he?
stroke.
There we
That's
go.
a stroke. The great British player Joshua Masters beats Sifeng Yip of Hong Kong 3 games to 1. Terrific display from the Englishman.
And Josh Masters will soon be crowned the men's singles World University Squash Champion, gaining a title he came relatively close to a couple of years ago.
Well, Josh Taylor, the great British coach, will be absolutely delighted, and so will Rob Owen, Josh's coach. But we're going to have a few words here with the MC, the very charming Chris Truswell.
Ladies and gentlemen, just before I speak to Josh, the presentation will be immediately after. So if you could kind of stay in the arena, we'll do the medal ceremonies for both the men and the women in a few minutes' time. Firstly, though, Josh, that is an upgrade from bronze 2 years ago to gold today. You must feel fantastic to beat a player of Yip's standard on a court like this in front of a home crowd.
Yeah, it's probably my best win in my career so far, and I've enjoyed playing on this court all week. Suits my game very well, and I seem to be playing better and better each day, so I'm very happy. And after that first game, I saw your coach Rob Owen came and had a few wise words. What did he say to you after that first game that helped you to kind of turn things around from that point? I didn't actually play too badly in the first. It's just a sloppy start really. It's like lost the first 3 points. Not playing very well really, but so it got my length. And he was just telling me to play straight a bit more, straight short, and because that was working really well today. Just play a bit cross court and it back to him a bit too much, but a couple of times just get on the volley and volley short straight, and won quite a few points. Yeah.
And just quickly, obviously, I guess this is your first event of the season, but what are your plans for the next, well, for the upcoming season, schedule-wise?
Got a tournament in 10 days' time in Madeira. That's the only one at the moment. And then be very busy from then on really. And, happy, good start. So.
Good to start with a win. Yeah, well, I think everyone will agree that was a fantastic match to finish the singles event. Huge congratulations, ladies and gentlemen. If you give both players a huge round of applause, and the presentation will follow in a few minutes' time.
Thanks very much for that, Chris Truswell. And just to round off the action for today, we'll have a few final words with you. We, your artistic, articulate and artisanal commentary team. And I think we've got a few thank yous, Jack, haven't we?
Yes, I'd like to say a big thank you to all of you guys watching at home or at work if you're on a Sunday. And a big thank you to the crowd, the players, FISU, the media team, and of course University of Birmingham for putting this fantastic venue. It's been a superb few days here, and of course a big thank you goes to my co-commentator George Parnell. After this next day of rest, we'll go back on for the team event, so hopefully see you then. But until then, you've been George Parnell.
And you've been Jack Turney.
Thank you very much.
This is so dead.
Ladies and gentlemen, the victory ceremony for the World University Squash Women's Championships are about to begin. Please take your seats. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the athletes from the Women's Championships. The medals for the Women's Championships will be presented by Colleen Dufresne, FISU Executive Committee member, and Paul Millman, England Squash President. Third place and bronze medalists, both from Malaysia, Aika Azman and Zoe Fu. Second place and silver medalist from South Africa, Alexa Pienaar. And first place and winner of the 2018 World University Squash Women's Championships, from Great Britain, Lily Taylor. Ladies and gentlemen, and now please rise for the FISU anthem. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. You may be seated while we take some photographs of our medalists. The men's ceremony will begin in around 5 minutes' time. Ladies and gentlemen, the victory ceremony for the 2018 World University Squash Men's Championship will now begin. Please welcome into the arena the athletes from the Men's Championships. The medals for the Men's Championships will once again be presented by Colleen Dufresne, FISU Executive Committee Member, and Paul Millman, England Squash President. Third place and bronze medalists, once more from Malaysia, Adine Adraki and Shafiq Kamal. Second place and silver medalist from Hong Kong, China, Si Fung Yip. And first place, winner of the 2018 World University Squash Men's Championship from Great Britain, Joshua Masters. Ladies and gentlemen, once more, please rise for the FISU anthem. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. You may now be seated. we got Lily? We were going to have a group photo, but our female athletes are now with anti-doping, so we will process you off in 2 seconds. Ladies and gentlemen, one more time, please, a round of applause for our men's medalists. Okay, thank you very much, everyone. This concludes our victory ceremony for today's individual championships. Thank you.